Good morning. Let freedom ring. Today is June 21st. Happy summer. And Father's Day, our Father who created and molded us. We need to thank all the fathers for their contributions due to the sacrifices from the many. On July 4th, 2026, we can celebrate our country's 250th birthday. There are many meanings of freedom. Freedom as a kid growing up in New York, especially June 21st, meant school was out, or would be in a day or two. No more teachers, no more books, no more teachers' dirty looks. A whole summer to be free to do what I want. One of the first symbols of our independence and freedom is the Liberty Bell, commissioned in, what happened to the clicker? Oh, you'll know. In 1751. On January 6, 1941, Franklin Delano Roosevelt delivered the Four Freedoms speech. Freedom of speech and expression, the right to express one's opinion freely. Freedom of worship, the right to practice any religion or none at all. Freedom from want, the right to an adequate standard of living. Freedom from fear, the right to live without fear of oppression or violence. Emphasize the importance of these freedoms as fundamental human rights. The First Amendment. The First Amendment protects freedom of religion, speech, the press, peaceful assembly, and the right to petition the government. It bars Congress from establishing a religion or restricting religious practice. And it also protects free expression by limiting government interference with speech and the press. In addition, it guarantees citizens the right to assemble peacefully and to petition their government. A.J. Must, an activist during the Vietnam War, stood outside the White House night after night, holding a single lit candle. A reporter asked him if he thought he was going to change the policies of this country. Must replied that he doesn't do this to change the country. I do this so the country won't change me. This is the freedom that, as Americans, we are granted through the First Amendment. I also discovered that freedom and unity is the official motto of the United States of Vermont. Unity conversely represents the necessity of collective action and cooperation among the populace, highlighting the strength derived from a cohesive community, emphasizing that individual freedoms are best preserved through a unified society working toward common goals. Unity defines freedom as a quality or state of being without thought or restraint, bondage, limitation, or repression, having a fear of complete well-being. Galatians 5:13 states, "You, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free. But do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Rather, serve one another humbly in love." As I speak today, listen as to how principles 3, 4, and 5 relate to my teaching. Principle 3 is beings create their experiences by the activity of their thinking. Principle 4 is creative thinking. And principle 5 is knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth. Words from Eric Butterworth. Let us begin to think of freedom in a more creative sense. The freedom to be, to become something, to be big enough to deal with the experiences of life, not just freedom to erase difficulties and to eliminate people as we may be subconsciously desiring, but rather freedom to release our spiritual capacities. Certainly everyone hungers for freedom from lack, from illness, from fear, and from bondage to any and all circumstances over which we have no control. In America, we have not only entertained the idea of freedom as doing what we want, but also of having what we want. All we can think of is if we have enough money to buy, there should always be the freedom to have. Jesus said, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." We miss the real meaning if we think of freedom as from high prices, freedom from shortages, freedom from pain, etc. For there are no shortages, no limitations in God or in truth. These things are a human experience. Truth makes you free in mind, free from worry, from discouragement, and free to choose the level of consciousness in which you meet life and change in circumstances. Unfortunately, we have thought of freedom as an escape rather than as a creative act. Emphasis has been on freedom from something rather than freedom to do or to be something. The emphasis has been on dropping out or running away. But the greatest freedom is the freedom to grow into the strong person we are created to be, facing up to successfully coping with those things we otherwise try to escape from. If we try to escape, to run away, to lean on people or on society's institutions, or to use chemical means of deadening the pain or softening the blow, we are not achieving freedom. Freedom is not an escape. It is a choice to be strong, to understand, to find a transcendent way. The beauty of Walden is not that Henry David Thoreau went away by himself, but that he came back. When we come back, freedom is a possibility. It is not running from the job, from the painful situation, but is going away to get a new perspective, to find inner strength, and then returning to face it. Freedom is not isolating yourself from the darkness, but the courage to go out into the darkness and put your hand into the hand of God, which shall be to your better than light and safer than a known way. One man had been crippled all his life, yet he had made a great success of everything he engaged in. He was asked the secret of his success. He said he made it a practice to concentrate on his strengths rather than his weaknesses, to keep positive and refuse to unfold in self-pity. Then he was asked, "But hasn't your crippled condition colored your outlook on life?" He replied, "Of course it has covered my outlook, but I have always chosen the colors." We miss the point if we insist that if a man were really free, he would no longer be crippled. There are many physically sound people who are mental cripples, and many unusual persons like this man who have physical handicaps and still have a freedom that transcends the limitations. The greatest freedom is not freedom from things or conditions. It is the freedom to be, the freedom to choose the kind of thoughts you think in the face of things. In the book of Revelation 3:8, we read, "Behold, I have set before thee the door open, which no man can shut." In other words, we are always in the flow, but we must realize it. Keep our self-conscious on terms with it. You may lose your job, but you can never lose your ability to create. Even if you are fired, you can never be fired from the universe. You may lose your house, but you can never really lose your true home and spirit, nor the spirit that made your house a home. No one has the power to shut the door to the real source of your good. Nothing can really stand in your way. Butterworth recalls the story of Joseph, whose brother sold him into slavery. It was a harsh introduction into the adult world, but it is likely that Joseph had been a spoiled brat in the need of some harsh experience to make a man of him. This was certainly not a humane way to go about it, but somehow he met the crisis and made his way through a chain of amazing circumstances to become Prime Minister of Egypt. Later, he said to his brothers, "You may have intended it for evil, but God intended it for good." This is the greatest freedom, to choose how you meet things. You can name it good, instead of commiserating and resenting or indulging in self-pity. You can know that things are working for good. If you announce after some reversal or disappointment, "Well, there goes my chances of success," then that is a level of consciousness in which you will be working for the immediate future. Is that what you want to happen? You can close your mind to life this way, but life never closes its doors on you. What seems to be a closed door is but the illusion created by our own negative feelings. This is an important key. You too can find good in everything. Any challenge or change can work for good, and you can make a blessing out of whatever appears to be a handicap. Know that the door is forever open, and get yourself into its relentless flow. The greatest of freedom is the freedom to know the truth in the face of that which is negative. It is the freedom to be creative in spite of the problem. It may eventuate in a healing process, leading to freedom from the problem itself. Sometimes we put so much effort in trying to demonstrate freedom from the condition, we create an inner resistance that negates the outer gains. In other words, we must be sure that we are willing, and not just willful, to know that there is an open door that no man may shut. But it is a divine flow, and not just a particular way that it must express. It means to keep open in mind, to keep positive in thought, and to keep loving. Throughout my younger years, this is me talking, throughout my younger years, my having MS and people not believing in me and my wanting to be a nurse since high school, I found the strength, or some would say stubbornness, to achieve my dream. Life has not always been easy for me. I lost my father due to heart failure at 35. My mother followed 2 years later with cancer. I've had many challenges. I'm a single mom who, due to her challenges with MS, lost her home. I ran away to Florida to help my aunt and start a new life. I was running away, looking for a new beginning, and found A Course in Miracles. I sure was looking for a miracle. I was introduced to Unity through a dear friend of mine. Unity has opened my eyes to looking at life in a positive way, and I've been able to make many new friends. Today, I still have challenges. I'm not running this time, but I know in my heart they will be fulfilled. Knowing the truth is not just mouthing cliches of absolute truth. We must choose to use the truth we know. We all desire to be free, to be whole, to conquer fear and worry, to live as we would like to live, and to do what we want to do. This desire is built into our very nature. The trouble is we have been so busy seeking freedom from certain things that we have not considered alternatives. What do we want freedom to do? True wholeness is not just a lack of illness or pain. It is a coordination of mind and body and talents in the direction of a worthwhile investment in one's life. The urge to be free is misconstrued as a longing to get out from under, to be rid of unbearable conditions. Let us begin to think of freedom in a more creative sense. The freedom to become something, to be big enough to deal with the experiences in life. Not just freedom to erase difficulties and to eliminate people, as we may be subconsciously desiring, but rather freedom to release our spiritual capacities. When we understand this, we will begin to let go not only of our problems, but also of our rigid metaphysical concepts about them. And then to walk on and begin each new day anew in our quest for understanding. For the greatest freedom is a choice to begin again. Man is born free, and everywhere he is in chains. These are opening words of Rousseau's social contract. And the Bible says, God created man upright, but he has sought out many inventions. Every person hungers for freedom, but life is consciousness. And only in consciousness can one be in bondage. Thus, by only changing consciousness can one find freedom. Namaste. Now, I'm going to please ask Melissa to come up, and she will lead us in meditation.
Can I get a round of applause for Diane again? Outside of platform, this is Diane's first time coming up to this podium to speak. Job well done. Thank you so much. One of the things I've strived for is to give our spiritual leadership team freedom to be able to come up here and do this and support this ministry in other ways. I know Susan and Rosalita and others have taken me up on that offer, and I just want to thank you, Diane, for being brave and courageous and stepping forward in that, sharing not just Eric Butterworth's words from his freedom speech, which I can share with, I can put a link in our Facebook page to that, but also sharing part of your own story and sharing the importance of spiritual freedom with us. So I'm going to invite each of us to get into this space where we are experiencing this spiritual freedom for ourselves. So I'm going to invite you to start to relax, to start to get comfortable, to release any worries, any fears, anything that's on your to-do list today. To just start to let go. Breathing into this presence. Know it for yourself. Know it for yourself. Whatever name you give to this presence of your knowing that lives and moves and has its being in you, I invite you to know this now. I'm going to open with a little bit of a flute song, and then I'm going to invite you into a further depth of exploring this freedom within here today. I invite you into this space to know freedom in the soul of your spirit. Whatever inner sanctuary brings you comfort, I invite you to go there now. Maybe you have an inner garden. Maybe you have an inner pathway through nature. Maybe you see yourself sitting by the beach or sitting by the lake. Maybe you see yourself going up to the mountain, just as Jesus did. Whatever space that is internally for you, whatever you visualize in this moment, I invite you to know this freedom now. See yourself sitting in that space, knowing the light of the sun, the coolness of the breeze, knowing this divine presence in you and throughout the nature around you. In unity, we affirm that God is present everywhere. This goodness, this life, this energy is everywhere present. And so I invite you into the freedom of knowing this for yourself, this presence right here, right now, in the consciousness of your mind. and the stillness of your soul and the loving nature of your heart. Know this now. Let us affirm. I am free to express the divine expression of love and light as I was created to be. I am free to express my joys and my sadness. I am free to express the love, the light, the life inside of me. I am free to bring forth in creativity all that is mine to do. I'm free to change my mind about what is mine to do. And I'm free to step forward in a new pathway at any moment, knowing that this presence is always present in me. In this space of freedom within you now, I invite you to enter a few moments of silence. Just a few moments of stillness in the silence. Today, I open to expressing my freedom. Today, I open to acknowledging the divine idea of freedom that expresses in each individual. Seeing this divine presence in them, whether I call it Christ, Buddha, Atman, Source, life. I see it unfolding in each individual, each person. And today, I honor this freedom in each of us to express spiritually as only we can. Breathing into this again, I affirm that I am an expression of freedom. I am free to walk the paths of life and love. And so it is, and so we allow it to be. Amen. I invite you to bring gentle awareness to your body temple, moving fingers and toes. Allowing this body to gently wake up, maybe a gentle stretch, gentle roll of your shoulders or your neck. And when you're ready, and only when you're ready, you are free to open your eyes. This spiritual freedom that we experience in meditation is what we were talking about today, what Diane shared with us in terms of Eric Butterworth, in terms of our spiritual journey. And it is ours to partake of anytime we sit, we still our hearts and our minds, We open to this love and this light, and we allow it to guide our way. So I'm going to invite you just to give another round of applause to both Karen Pauline as our platform and Diane as our speaker here today. And now I'm going to invite up Bob. I know he's going to lead us in song. I'll go ahead and do our offertory here this morning. So I'm going to invite you to get your gift